Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay, and am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, ji.
Yes, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank my distinguished guests from Bolivia and Saudi Arabia and national and international scholars to attend my this session. The topic of my talk is Gist of Grammar for the IELTS program. Under this umbrella, we will discuss about the origin of sentence, parts of speech, and the tenses. Dear audience, first I would like to brief about the origin of sentence, how the sentences are made. Basically, first comes that is the letters. When the letters are combined, they make the alphabet. When the alphabet are combined, they make the word. When the words are combined, they make phrases. And when the phrases are combined, they make clause. And when the clauses are combined, they make the sentence. And sentence is having two parts. One is the subject and the second one is the predicate. And according to the structure, it is having three kinds: the simple sentence, compound sentence, and the complex sentence. On the behalf of class, sentence is having five kinds: assertive sentence, optative sentence, exclamatory, imperative, and interrogative. There are 9 parts of speech. The first one is the noun, the naming word, pronoun, the replacing word, verb, the action word, adverb, the qualifying word, preposition, the relating word, conjunction, the joining word, adjective, the quality words, article, the demonstrative word, interjection, emotional words. What are the tenses? My dear, in grammar, tenses means time. It tells us when an action takes place. The present tense tells us what is happening. The past tense tells what has happened. The future tense tells about what will happen. So the present means today, past means yesterday, and future means tomorrow. It is having further 4 kinds: indefinite tense and continuous tense, perfect tense, and perfect continuous. So 4 by 3 are equal to 12. So there are 12 tenses. Look at here, present indefinite tense. It is basically used to tell us about the routine and habits or the facts. And its structure is subject plus first form plus object. Like, I write a letter, he writes a letter. While in this negative, you will have to use subject plus does not, do not, first form and object. I don't write a letter, he doesn't write a letter. In the interrogative sentence, you will have to use do, does, first subject, first form and object. Do I write a letter? Does he write a letter? There are some symbolic signs for the present indefinite tense. They are when you find always, daily, often, seldom, regularly, usually, generally, never, rarely, every day, every morning, every month, every year, and sometimes, then you will have to use the present indefinite tense. And that is an exercise for you to solve it. If we talk about the present continuous tense, it tells us about the action which is happening now. And its structure is subject, is MR, fourth form and object. I'm writing a letter, I'm not writing a letter, am I writing a letter? And its symbolic signs are at present, now, still, these days, at this moment, and nowadays. And it is its exercise. For the present perfect tense, it tells us about the action took place in the near past. The structure is subject, has a, third form and object. I have written letter, I have not written letter, and have I written letter. And its symbolic signs are already, just, yet, recently, so far, this week, and never. So these are some words. Wherever you find in any sentence, then you will have to use the present perfect tense in that. If we talk about present perfect continuous tense, it tells us about the action started in the near future and it can be continued in future. Subject has been having form of verb, object, and since for and time. I have been writing a letter since morning. I have not been writing a letter since morning. Have I been writing a letter since morning? Since is used for the fixed time, while the for is used for the period of time. And symbolic words are since, for, up to now, and the all day. While the past indefinite tense tells us about the action happened in the past ones. The structure is subject, second form of verb, and object. I wrote a letter. While for making the negative sentence, you will have to use subject, did not, first form, and object. I did not write a letter, and did I write a letter? And its symbolic signs are yesterday, ago, this morning, last or the previous night, last or the previous day, last or the previous week, last or the previous month, last or the previous year in 2022. And this is an exercise for you to solve it. For the past continuous tense, it tells us about the action continued in the past at a certain moment. Its structure is subject, was, were, fourth form, and object. I was writing a letter. I was not writing a letter. Was I writing a letter? And its symbolic signs are when, while, as long as. For the past perfect tense, it tells us about the action is completed before that the task. And the structure is subject plus had plus third form of verb and object. I have written letter. I had written letter. I had not written letter. Had I written letter? And its symbolic signs are already, before, until, then, and after. Past perfect continuous tense tells us about the action started in the past but continued later on. Subject had been fourth form of verb, object since foreign time. I had been writing a letter since morning. I had not been writing a letter since morning. Had I been writing a letter since morning? And its symbolic signs are since, for, and all the day. For the future indefinite tense, it tells us about the action that will happen in the future repeatedly. Subject, will, shall, first form of verb, and object. I shall write a letter. I shall not write a letter. Shall I write a letter? Its symbolic signs are tomorrow, soon, next, the following. It can be following day, following month. For the future continuous, it tells us about the action that can be continued. Subject, will, shall be fourth form of verb and object. I shall be writing a letter. I shall not be writing a letter. Shall I be writing a letter? And the symbolic signs are tomorrow, when, next, at this time. For the future perfect tense, action will be completed, but after once. Its structure is subject, will, shall have, plus third form of verb, plus object. I shall have written letter. I shall not have written letter. Shall I have written letter? And the symbolic signs are by, before, and until. And that is an exercise for you to solve. For the future perfect continuous tense, it tells us about the action that will be completed. Subject, will, shall have been fourth form of verb, object since foreign time. I shall have been writing a letter since morning. I shall not have been writing a letter since morning. Shall I have been writing a letter since morning? And the symbolic signs are by, before, until, since, and for. And this is exercise for you to solve. And that is the gist of the tenses. You should note it down for your further study. And thanks for joining me. And so nice of you. That's all from my side. Now, I would like to request my honorable guest, the national and the international guest. From the national level, we are having Dr. Dr. Atif Iftikhar from Numal, Islamabad. And from Bolivia, international guest, we are having Professor Sorel Suarez. Professor, can you hear me? Professor Suarez. Okay. Now I would like to request Professor Atif Iftikhar. Atif, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Safdar, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. We want to hear from you.
Okay, Dr. Safdar, thank you so much for such a precise and brief presentation about the grammar and all the related things obviously required for IELTS and basic English. Anyone need to know about these things. It actually reminded me all that the way I actually, when I was struggling as a student in maybe in my school or college level, I remember that once someone told me, who was perhaps my class fellow or my relative or cousin, a very ordinary who ended up his education in matriculation. He told me once that active voice and passive voice are not that much difficult. You just need to use the maybe the helping verb of the next sentence, and in every passive voice you'll have to use the third form of the verb. So when I listened that guy, I just came to know that these helping verb and the other one is the form of verb are so important. If we just remember these things, it means that we can have a grip of sentences, sorry, tenses very easily. So after that, what I did, I just draw a table on a piece of paper, and later on it used to be in my wallet every time. And whenever I get some free time, I used to read that paper. What is the helping verb of present indefinite, and what is the helping verb of past indefinite, and what is the form of verb is being used. Later on, I added
Este
a
39, un poco grande.
few rules as well.
Permítame el otro, por favor.
So,
gracias. Ah, ya. ¿Y este es 39? Ah, pensé que eran los dos igual.
Okay, Professor Solid, are you
Tráigame
here?
el otro 39, por favor.
Okay, actually, Professor Atif was saying something. Okay, Professor Solid Soles, can you continue? Can you hear me?
Good morning, doctor. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, please.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you because this was an excellent exposition of everything we need. I mean, I am a professional who works preparing students for TOEFL, and this is exactly the part they need and the part sometimes they don't understand. So first of all, I want to thank your explanation on the basics. And yes, this is something that we have to do, and we have to look for new ways and very important ways and creative ways for students to actually understand the basic grammar. So first of all, and mostly, I want to thank you for your candid presentation. Thank you very much.
So nice of you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Atif, can you continue now? Sorry for this interruption.
Yeah, I was just commenting that it's such a brief and so much important, and you may say that it includes a lot many ingredients for anyone to be good in learning English. It's just like the basics of driving. If someone wants to be good in driving a car, these the things which you have told us today are just like knowing about the steering and race and brake and clutch and all these things. So these are so much commanding and controlling things. Anyone need to have the idea, and need to remember with practice and by reading again and again all these things. Thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation. It's really helpful. Thank you.
So nice of you, Professor, for your very nice comments. Yes, we are having another distinguished guest from Saudi Arabia, Professor Abdul Wahid. Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we want to hear from you.
Good evening, everybody. This is Abdul Wahid from Qasim University, Saudi Arabia. And first of all, it's a great honor and pleasure for me that you gave me this opportunity to attend this session and to share my views. So, Doctor, thank you, and I appreciate for your wonderful presentation and very precise and very basic for the students. Of course, tenses and the parts of speech, they form the basic of English grammar. They are the backbone of English grammar, and especially in academic from academic point of view, they are really basic, and they are very necessary for students because they make students to produce fair and standard communication in form of writing, speaking, and in every way, So It's really great and wonderful presentation from you, that you present a lot of stuff in a very short time, and you even I like personally, it was very attractive and very amazing when you pointed out that these are the signal words, these are the symbols that students can find out what words suggest that which tense is this and this. So these are the signal words that can help students. Moreover, I would, if you allow me, for me, you are far senior to me, and I'd recommend you for all the students and all the teachers that you are a great source of pride and respect for our country as well, and for all of us, and all the students must learn from you. And if you ask me, I would suggest that we should also, make it a little more communicative by associating these tenses with the meaning, and we can sometimes draw the lines about past, present, and future, and we can decide, how on the timeline, how these different tenses have different meanings. So I'd like to thank you again at the end, and I appreciate all your effort. Okay, thank you very much.
So nice of you, Professor, for your very nice comments. I really appreciate you and your efforts, because you are known to me since long, and I have also been seeing your work, whatever the I think contributions you are transmitting to your students. I know them very well. So wish you best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes, Ms. Shabana Ajmal, what would you like to say about today's session? Samra, please mute yourself. Ms. Shabana, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Assalamu alaikum.
Ji. Walaikum assalam. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Obviously, it is very informative, and hopefully, we are going to get a lot from these lectures in future also.
Okay. One of our distinguished scholar is Mr. Wasim Aslam. Wasim, what would you like to say?
Thank you very much, sir. Very unfortunately, I joined this session very late, but whatever I hear on this session, it was very pleasant, very nice, very informative. And I would like to appreciate you for this, for conducting this session, as well as I would like to thank you to provide us this opportunity to learn grammatic rules, to explore our ideas, our thoughts. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, so nice of you. So nice of you. Yes, Miss Zaida, what would you like to say? Zaida, can you hear me? Zahida.
Yes, sir.
Yes, what would you like to say about today's session?
Yes, sir.
How did you find today's session?
Sir, today's session, I noted one thing, that you can learn the whole grammar in one sitting.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, Mr. Farhan Khalid, what you would like to say?
Sir, I would say that it was a very informative video for us. It was a very informative knowledge for everyone, and the basics you told. It was very helpful for the beginners and also professionals to revise their basics.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Tahir, what you would like to say
Yes, sir. Maybe it's enough for the beginner students. You present the basics and also present in a good way for a new beginner learner students.
Yes, Miss Samra, what you would like to say?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to us, and you told us very information and gave me a lot of information, very basic rules of grammar. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Hafiz Amar. Hafiz Amar, can you hear me? Okay, and what about Miss Rahat? Can you hear me? Amna Khalik, can you hear me? Amna? Amna, can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much once again to all my distinguished guests and my students for joining me here. And we are having some guests from Indonesia, and they are just going to try to connect with us. But unfortunately, they are not going to be connected. Again and again, they are sending me some text that we are trying to connect, we are trying to connect. So maybe they may connect within some few minutes. We have to, I think, wait for them. And inshallah, in your next session, I would like to tell you about your 4 modules. In the first session, I tell you about the listening module and the reading module. In the next session, I tell you about your writing module and the speaking module, how you will have to handle all these modules. And I wish you best of luck and to secure your desired bands. At least they must be 7+. With your hard work and with my, inshallah, help, whatever the things I know, I would like to share with you. Inshallah, I try, you will learn a lot. Yes, Mr. Reeb, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. I really appreciate for arranging this session, and we must learn tenses from that session. And thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Okay, Amna, can you hear me now? Amna, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, sir, due to poor signals.
Okay. What you would like to say about today's session?
Firstly, I would say thank you to the respected guests that gave us beautiful and amazing session. It will be really helpful for us.
Okay, so nice of you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, and especially Professor Abdul Wahid, and for giving us your precious time. And Professor Sorel Suarez from Bolivia. I think he is in the South America, Bolivia, because in last year I delivered a workshop over there in Brazil, and he was over there. And since then, he's connected with me. And we are also having some contributions, whatever the things he knows, he shares with me and my students, and whatever the things I know, I share with him. So that is basically, I think, exchange of knowledge, exchange of ideas, which we should do. I think now the world has become a global village. We are residing in a global village. So we have to be connected and get maximum benefits from everyone. Yes, Hafiz Amar and Rahat, can you hear me? Afterwards, we would like to leave the meeting. Miss Rahat and Hafiz Amar. Okay, thank you very much. once again, thank you for coming and attending this session. Thank you, sir. Okay, bye bye. Allah Hafiz.
Thank
You
you,
are
sir.
welcome. Thank you.